what are different things that you can do to kind of learn from me. So first thing that I would usually do if I am mentoring or coaching someone is first I'll figure out what their goals are. And it's really important to start there. Hey there, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now my goal set after this video is to walk you through what are different tips or advices or the process of what it would be like if I mentored you in becoming a virtual assistant. Now, if this is your first time on my channel, my name is Lai Lacaba. I've been working from home since I was 15 years old and now run my own virtual assistant company here in the Philippines. And I post videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home. So make sure to hit subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos. Now, since doing a lot of these videos, whether it's here on YouTube, on TikTok, and different places, I have gotten a lot of requests of people wanting me to mentor them, to coach them, to do programs. And honestly, I used to do that in 2020. I did that a lot. That's how I built a lot of the content here on my YouTube channel. But I just don't do it anymore because I'm really focused on my business to XU. However, I wanted to give you guys some sort of just way to know what that process would have been like if I did still have my coaching program open, and what are different things that you can do to kind of learn from me. So first thing that I would usually do if I am mentoring or coaching someone is first I'll figure out what their goals are. And it's really important to start there. Whether that goal is to become a virtual assistant, that's kind of the first step. Whether you have this big, hairy, audacious goal of being able to work anywhere you want, whether that's in Europe or America or anywhere else, or you just have the goal to start saving up for maybe a laptop or for a business you want to do, that's where I would usually start, is starting with your goals. So what that would look like then is after we have your goals, is we will do a little bit of reverse goal hacking. So what I mean by that is we'll backtrack based on the goal that you've set. Okay, now what are the steps that we have to do to meet in the middle of where you're at and where your goals are at? So we'll start planning out, okay, what does that look like? Typically when I used to do these coaching calls, it usually be about 10 sessions, about 2 months, 2.5 months, and that's meeting every week. And then we kind of then have a laid out plan of what it would look like as you start working with me. So then we would be going through your current skills and things that you want to learn. So what are you currently really good at? What are things that you're not as good at? Which is why I kind of made that video last week on your strengths and weaknesses as a virtual assistant and why it's important for you to know them, is so then you're just aware of where you're currently at and of course where you want to be. So again, bridging that gap between your goals and where you're at now, we'll also try to see what are the skills that you have to eventually learn or to get better at to become that person that you want to become. So if you are you're new to the virtual assistants, then one of the first things that you'll probably learn is actually just how to be able to organize data, how to organize projects, tasks, whatever that looks like for your client. It's probably that's kind of the first thing that you are going to be doing. Then once we have that list, again, we have now a little bit of a 10-step profile, what it look like, what's the small step that we can do, what are the 10 things that we can do throughout this 10-week process. We've gone through your skills, the things that you're good at, you're not good at, what are things that you have to be good at, and things you have to learn to become that person that you want to become. Then we actually then get started on the whole coaching process. So what that could look like is me helping you very specifically on a problem that you might be facing. It could also me giving you a list of books and courses that you can start studying. By the way, I have a lot of videos on that on different books that you should be studying. Again, the types of books that I would really recommend that you start learning is, first one is self-development, how to be a better person, how to communicate better. Second one is project or people management, how to run actual sprints or projects for people. And the last one is actually entrepreneurship, like how to run a business. So then that kind of goes back and forth throughout the whole 10 weeks. However, since again, I'm not really doing coaching calls, what would be different tips that I would be giving you? And basically, what would that look like? So the first tip that I usually give to anyone who is wanting to be mentored or coached by me is start and stay curious. Now, what I mean by this is at this point, as you're getting to be either a better virtual assistant, you're getting started, you don't really know a lot of things. You have to stay curious. Even though you've had maybe certifications, you did really well in your past job, you really need to have the mindset that you're trying or you're starting again. This is one of the pitfalls that I've seen over and over again when people want to become a virtual assistant, is they think, oh, I know that. Oh, I understand. I get what you're trying to say. But in reality, you are in a newer field. You want to get better and better. And the best way that you can do that is to stay curious. Ask questions. Be someone who knows that, again, Google is your best friend, but you also know that you have to verify that information before you share it. Or knowing that there are people that you can ask questions to, people who have bigger and better experience than you, who you can seek advice from. So that's the first thing I always say is, as we're going through this coaching process, you have to start and stay curious. Second thing, and this will sound a little bit harsh, is know that you will fail. Again, I know, sounds a little bit harsh, but it is just the reality of it. Whenever you're starting something new, somewhere new, you are going to fail and stumble a couple of times. And this is something that I'm running my own virtual assistant agency, is I will make mistakes, I will stumble, I will fall, but it's important that you keep getting back up, you keep learning. Again, stay curious. Why did you fall? Why did you stumble? Why did you fail? Why was this mistake made? What could have been done to prevent this mistake from happening again in the future? It's really important that you know that not everyone had this one-shot career where they just excelled through the whole way. They have stumbled, they have fallen, they have failed, they have gone through different things. Wouldn't have made them the person that they are today if they did not go through that. So you might have mentors, you might have people that you follow, but you will have your own stumbles that you will have needed to do or go through in order to reach that goal that you have. Next is, as you start becoming a virtual assistant, you need to learn the hiring process. This is one of those things that not a lot of people will keep in mind as they're applying, is each company will have their own hiring process, but you have to understand the basic one in order to know what the next steps would be. So the first one is you applying. Second is they'll screen your application. So it's not like an auto pass just because you had these qualifications. A person or a machine is going to go through your resume, your application letter. That's why they have to be really good and up to date. And then afterwards, they'll probably call you up for an initial interview, like, hey, so and so, we've gotten your resume, you passed through the first screening process, we have a few questions for you. This is probably not the actual interview, but this is going to be them seeing if your information was correct, or if you can add anything else to your resume, to your application, that will make you qualified for the next step, which is probably a skills test. So the skills test will test your skills, whatever that is, and then you actually go into probably the first official interview, which is going to either be with a panel of people of experts, or instead of doing you, it's still me. And then you probably do a final interview process just to make sure things are good, and then the onboarding. That's what the hiring process looks like. You have to be aware of it so you know, again, when to follow up, when to check on things. You'll know what the next step is, you're aware of it, you'll be able to compose yourself in a way that you're ready for that next step. Next is you need to understand how a business works. Now, it doesn't have to be this full-length thing, but you need to understand a business process. You need to understand what is the problem that you're solving as you're coming in. Why did they start this company? Who are their audiences? Who are their customers, basically, or their clients? What problem are they solving for their customers or clients? Because then this is something that you can go into and say, hey, I think this is a better way that we can serve them. Or, hey, I know I'm just an applicant. I'm just someone who's just starting out. But I think this is another way that you can be more known, or get more customers or clients. Because when you have a deeper understanding of the company, of the businesses that you are trying to get into, it's going to be easier for you to position yourself as the person that they're looking for. Next is you need to learn the basics of being a virtual assistant. Now, you guys have my whole YouTube channel, both from the point of view of becoming a virtual assistant and hiring a virtual assistant to go through. It's a lot of content. And I also have different courses, different blog posts, a lot of content for you guys. So it is all on my YouTube channel. But as just a really quick run through, a virtual assistant is someone who is assisting a client. There's two types of virtual assistants. There is a general virtual assistant and a specialized virtual assistant. General virtual assistant, you become a jack or Jill of all trades. You're doing a lot of different things for your client. You're helping duplicate that part of their brain. When you're a specialized virtual assistant, you are helping them with a specific thing in their business. Whether you're a bookkeeper assistant, social media assistant, you're a sales assistant, there's a specific thing that you're working on. You're not probably working as close with your client. You're just helping them on that specific thing in their business. Your goal as a virtual assistant is to lighten the load for your client. The more money that you help your client either save or make, the more valuable you are. That's it. That's the most basic thing that I can give you about being a virtual assistant. Again, you have my whole YouTube channel to look through and learn all of these different things, and hopefully you will. Next tip that I have is learn the power of feedback. Now, this goes both ways. Learn how to give feedback and how to receive feedback. Now, giving feedback is super important because your employer is not a mind reader. They're not gonna just guess what it is that you need unless you've actually communicated that with them. They probably, need your help in seeing what are the gaps that they are not seeing just because they're growing their company, their business. You have to keep in mind that they're really just focused on this one part, and you have to help them see the other parts, because again, they're focused on kind of surviving, of making sure that their clients are happy, making sure that their clients come back. So you have to be the one to also have more of just the proactiveness of being able to give feedback or suggestions as you see them. And also, again, it's important to that you know how to receive feedback. And how to receive feedback, there's a lot of different ways. One is knowing that most feedback is just not personal. A lot of it is just making sure that you are aware of what's happening with you, just like how you would give feedback to your employer. There's also keeping in mind that different people will have different expectations. And usually when you are being given feedback, it's because one of their expectations wasn't met or you've exceeded one of their expectations. So you have to learn both ways, again, giving and receiving that feedback, so it can work both ways, where no one is expecting the other to just know what to do or know what to understand or how to think. It's because you guys have been able to clearly communicate. Next piece of advice, and I've said this so many times before, is to grow yourself. Again, I have so many books, so many courses that I've talked about on this channel, a lot of videos for you guys of different things that I really recommend, but you have to constantly be growing yourself because you want to learn how to be better, how to be more productive, how to do things in less time, so then you have the free time to do the rest things that you love to do. Get feedback from people, receive that feedback, and try to see what are different ways that you can grow yourself. Next tip is take notes of everything. So one of the questions that I do ask during the interview portion of 2XU is, are you someone who has a really good memory? So that's how you organize things, or you're organized because you have everything recorded? And 9 out of 10, I will probably hire that person who said that I have everything recorded. And the reason why is your brain is not meant for storing. Brain is meant for creating. So when you write things down, you write down notes of your reminders, your to-dos, the things that your boss has said, the things that you're supposed to be following up with them on, then you're not relying on your brain, you're relying on your notes. So you have to learn how to take better notes. When you have this habit of writing things down, it's going to be harder for you to let things slip through. It's going to be easier for you to sort through notes and be able to see what are the next steps, what am I supposed to be doing now. And the last thing you can do to keep growing yourself as a virtual assistant, and a piece of advice that I would give you if I was your mentor, have a mentor. It doesn't have to be a mentor where you're doing, one-on-one calls or one-to-many calls. It could be someone that you just look up to, that you look at their videos, to look at the things that they're doing, and you're able to grab and disseminate and grab and get the information that you need in order to keep growing yourself. When you have a mentor, you have someone that you see the path that they've gone through, and you're able to follow them. And so this is where a little bit or a lot of discernment goes in. So when you're picking a mentor, pick someone who has been where you are and has what you want. People usually forget the been where you are part. They usually just look at have what you want. Like if you know someone who is like earning, 200,000 pesos on being a virtual assistant, but they actually started out at a different level, like they had the right connections, or they were able to skip a few steps just because they had this, it's going to be harder for you to follow their steps. Versus if you've seen someone who earns like 70, 50, 30,000 pesos as a virtual assistant, depending on that next step for you. And you see that they did start with where you're at, where you might have a little bit of the same background, where you worked at a call center or a BPO, or you worked at the same industry maybe, and then they got out of it, started their own virtual assistant career, then those are the people that you can follow. So pick and choose who you follow, because not everyone is going to be giving you that same path that you can follow. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there and comment below. What are the things that you would ask me if I were to mentor you? Now, if you guys still haven't, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. Now, I hope you guys have an awesome day, and remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!